Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming today to celebrate a great career, a 17-year career by Steve Maio as our town administrator. First of all, I want to thank the committee who I asked one question and they put everything together on this, and they were just wonderful. Ann Waite from Public Works, Karen Morrow from the school department, Dan McGrath, and Sherry Dalton. I appreciate their efforts, and we are here today. I'd like to recognize the select persons and town councils are here. Doug Butler, Stacy Constance, Jonathan Chines, Maureen Butt, and Ann McGonigal Santos. Thank you for coming. I get this privilege because 18 years ago, I was on the Board of Selectmen, and I'm proud to say that I was one of the first two people who weren't family members who learned about Steve's desires. And we never stopped after that. And we went forward. And for those of you who have sat on boards or committees of such, it's very unusual that a majority of that group would pick one of their own and go with that and believe that what has happened over the last 17 years, you can trust we're proud of that. The fact that we were able to pick out that one person. And I'll tell you how it happened. Steve coined a nickname for me, and he mentioned it, and I ran with it. I loved it. He said, some people misinterpret John Carney's anger for his passion. Steve, I was angry. Steve could get two people, and you people who've worked with him, he'd get two people in a room with diverse backgrounds, diverse opinions, and both of them would walk out of the room thinking they won. And that's what a good leader does. He brings people together. We have one of the best towns around here, and one of my biggest concerns now is someone walking in, who's going to want to walk in on his footsteps and take over what he's been doing. This town is in such great shape. And I'm not bragging because I was part of it. I'm bragging because I contributed to it. And I think everybody out here should be proud that you all have made a contribution to this great town, and Steve appreciates that. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce the chairman of the town council, Maureen Butt, to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to my colleague, John Carney, for organizing this event. And thank you to Ann and Dan and Susan and all the others, Wakefield staffers who helped coordinate it, the celebration. So I'm going to do a little storytelling. When I first joined the board in 2017, Steve would tell me how he had 7 bosses. The Board of Selectmen were his bosses. Wakefield is one of the few towns in Massachusetts with a board of 7. Thanks, Sherry, for this information, but over the past 17 years, Steve has had a lot of bosses, 23 to be exact. I'm not going to name them all, but I have a list of all 23 of them. By back of the envelope math, a council has roughly 2 meetings a month. Over 17 years, that's 408 meetings. That's not including any special meetings. Add that number to the meetings of finance team meetings or supervision meetings, it adds up to thousands of meetings, tens of thousands of hours, all for the success of Wakefield. As a member of the council for the past 9 years, I can attest to the great work Steve has accomplished. Just look at the renovations of the public safety building, our new middle school, and soon to open new high school and the vocational school. Look at the solar panels and the battery park being built. Look at how we operationalized the distribution of ARPA funds. Look at how he hired a police chief and a deputy fire chief. He led our town through economic recession and global pandemic. He fought for money from the state for the library and the senior center and the bandstand, all while maintaining our AAA bond rating over the last few years. There are few that care more about this town than the Mayo family, and in particular, Steve. You all have dedicated yourself endlessly to this town, and we're much appreciative. Steve cares about everyone in Wakefield. We've had countless meetings about those affected by the opioid crisis, those unhoused, those who need a little extra via the food pantry or the emergency funds to get by. He meets with everyone and anyone and answers emails and calls at all hours of the night. For those who play pickleball, you have Steve to thank for those outdoor courts. And there's actually a picture of the first time Steve and I both played pickleball there. The world and job has changed a lot in the past 17 years, and Steve has been adaptable. He's always available to have a conversation when any of us has an idea or question. Over the years, he's built a network of other town administrators and mayors. Folks look to us in Wakefield about how we organize, how we succeed. We are leaders on so much, from social services to a welcoming community to resiliency. We're the best. He has committed himself to this town. He is leaving the town in a vastly better shape than how he found it, and that is the measure of success. He worked 24/7 and deserves this retirement. But as chair of the current board, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say that we have Steve for 6 more weeks. And there's still some unfinished projects that we need to talk about. So I look forward to wrapping those up with you. Steve, all the best in your next phase. May you have time for all the travel and adventure with Jean and endless hugs with your 4 grandchildren.
Purposely keeping this agenda short, but I do want to mention that it's remarkable the fact that Dr. Maio spent 17 years as superintendent of schools in Wakefield. And I'm counting the year that you were acting. They wouldn't let him leave, so that when he was leaving, they made him acting for 1 more year. But he was in the system, I believe, 29 years. And I think the family is rooted in this town, and that's what made this so great. 2 of Steve and Jean's boys have homes in Wakefield. The 3rd is in the service and probably will move back here someday. But they're rooted here. And they're proud of this community, and we're proud of them. With no further ado, I'm going to invite Jean, Stephen, and Nick up here to speak to them in regards to their father.
Thank you all for being here to celebrate Steve and his accomplishments here in the town of Wakefield. Our heartfelt thanks to Town Councilman John Carney, to Sherry Dalton, and all the Town Council for organizing this beautiful event. Thanks to Ann Waite and the whole DPW crew, and also Dan McGrath for setting up and decorating. And a special thanks to Inspire Cafe for providing the delicious refreshments. And to the WMHS musicians, you are fabulous. Thank you so much. The committees and groups that are represented at the tables here today do such amazing work. We can't thank you enough for all that you do for this town. The Mayo family is so pleased and proud to be honoring Steve in this way today. Serving as town administrator has truly been a labor of love for Steve. He has led this town with his whole heart and soul. For as long as I've known Steve, he's always had a strong calling for public service, and this calling stems from his upbringing. His parents, Dr. Steve and Dorothy Mayo, who are here today, give them a wave. Chose Wakefield as the town to raise their family, and I'm so glad they did, because that's how I met Steve. They were both public servants in public education. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for raising this remarkable man and for being such incredible role models for all of us. Steve has loved this job. His devotion has been 24/7, vacation days, holidays, weekends. I needed to recruit then Town Councilwoman Betsy Sharon to help me convince Steve that a vacation was more than just adding 1 day onto a weekend once in a while. But even then, when he took a full week off, his phone was always visible, No matter where we were, he was ready and looking and making sure the town didn't need him. And he'd always have the Wakefield logo on any shirt that he wore the whole vacation, so that perfect strangers walking up to us would ask him about his town, and he could proudly tell them all about it. He was also on the lookout at those places for ideas he could bring back here. One summer, it was all about projecting sign brackets. I don't know, Albion Street was under renovation, and so he had this idea, and he was looking everywhere. And whenever he saw one he liked, he'd be like, "Gene, take a picture of me with this. We got to send it to Ed." And listening to music, just trying to relax and listen to music. But no, Steve always had an ear out for music that had lines in it that connected to his theme for town meeting. And then he'd play that song at town meeting in his welcome remarks. My point being that Steve is always thinking about this town, whether he's on or off work hours. Our son Justin has a newborn son in Connecticut, and so he's sorry he can't be with us today. But our oldest, Stephen, and our youngest, Nicholas, are here and would like to add a few comments of their own. So Stephen, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mom, and I want to echo you in thanking everyone for being here today. It's so great to see so many family and friends and colleagues from the past and present here today, and most especially in thanking the many of you here who volunteer your time and talent to making our town the wonderful place that it is to call home. In marking my father's retirement, I think it's only natural that we're focused on his 17 years as town administrator, but my father's role in the administration of the town goes back much further, to the Ewell and Greenwood School Councils when I was attending elementary school, about the same age that my children are now in the Wakefield schools, to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and finally to several terms on the Town Council, or the Board of Selectmen as it was known in those days. My memories of this time include his boundless energy in balancing these roles with being fully present to us as a family, and also building and managing his own legal practice. Today, I really don't know how he had the energy to do all that with giving 100% to everything that he did, though I suspect that my mother running everything on the home front probably had a big part to do with that. But really what I remember about that time is that outside of the family, his enthusiasm was always with the work he was doing for the town. And so we were all really thrilled for him when he had this opportunity to bring that enthusiasm to a full-time vocation here as town administrator. Since then, we've watched firsthand as that enthusiasm and pride for the town of Wakefield has only grown as he's jumped to face every challenge head on. From major issues like leading the town through the COVID pandemic, to the day-to-day work of building engagement and consensus, often through his almost uncanny ability to bring parties together who might not always agree or even ever agree, to work together on projects for the benefit of the town. I think that aside from the people, that it's actually these challenges that he will miss the most, although as he mentioned at town meeting a couple of weeks ago, correcting his slice in the golf course will be challenge enough, at least for a couple months in the summer, and I look forward to having more time to spend with him and to watch him work through that. Once again, I want to really thank all of you for being here, and I'll turn it over to my brother Nick.
Thank you all for being here to celebrate my dad's incredible career and all he has done for our beloved town. It's funny, as we discussed planning this speech, Stephen, in his old age, remembers life before Dad was on the Board of Selectmen or town administrator. But I was 3 years old when Dad became a selectman. So it basically has been my entire life that Dad has been involved in town government. Due to that, I grew up thinking it was normal to have parents who are so involved in the community, but I quickly learned my dad's different. Dad's passion has always been making Wakefield and the people around him a better place. So he made it look easy to work 24/7 while still eating dinner at home almost every night and having time to attend all of his meetings, coach my middle school teams, and make it to every high school game. Whether it was coaching, supporting the community, or brainstorming his newest idea for the town, he was able to lead those around him in such a calm way and make it look easy. His leadership skills are among the things I admire most about him. My dad has led the town with such pride for 17 years, achieving incredible accomplishments that our entire family is so proud of. I'll end with a classic Steve Maio line, often heard after a big basketball win: "It's all coaching at this level." Well, Dad, it was all your coaching, and I believe our town's success was the same. Thank you.
Steve has always spoken so highly of the many people, both town employees and volunteers alike, who have made his job easier by doing their work so well. As lifelong residents of this town, our family wishes to shout out a huge thank you to the incredible people who work or volunteer to keep this town safe, strong, and beautiful. Wakefield is the best place to live, and 2 of our kids have already bought a house here. Although Steve is retiring, his heart will always be with Wakefield and the incredible people who make it so very special. So without further ado, I introduce the man of the hour, Steve Maio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really, my wife and kids took most of my stuff. You'll have to hear some repeats, but I want to thank you all for coming. It's a rare weekend, sunny day, and you all came out here, so I do really appreciate it. And John mentioned this at the beginning, and it really is fitting that John was one of the first people outside of the family that I talked about this journey 17 years ago, and it is fitting is that you're here today. So John, thank you for all your friendship over the years. I thought John was going to tell this story, though. I always told John, and I still do, that he's a guy that if you're in a foxhole, you want to be with him. Now, he's going to draw fire, but you want him on your side. So thank you, John. You know, when I was putting my thoughts together for today, really didn't know what to say or how to approach this after 17 years. So I decided I would be modern and kind of look at AI and kind of, go in there and say, what do you say at something like this? So that's great. It gave me some ideas, and I put them on an index cards, not a binder, because I didn't know you guys didn't want to see my binders. Maybe that's an inside joke of all my binders from all towns meetings. But anyways, AI was very interesting. So the first thing AI said was that you need to thank your mom. Okay, so I do want to thank my mom, and I told her that, and my mother Dorothy, who is wonderful, and she could do this job better than I can, or could. And so Mom said to thank her first, and then about 30 seconds later she said, oh, thank your dad too. So I'm going to thank my mom and dad for their support all over the years, so thank you very much. So it really has been a privilege and an honor to be your town administrator over the last 17 years. Wakefield is more than just a place to work, at least in my family's opinion. It is vibrant, resilient, and a very caring community. And it's all about teamwork. And I'm so thrilled to see a lot of my work colleagues and staff here today. And Joe Conway, who just has a new baby, my DPW director, he even came out today. So thank you, Joe. Give you a special shout out. But for my town staff, they worked yesterday, since 8 in the morning, probably earlier for some of them, putting together that incredible event on the Common. And they are here today, so I thank you for coming back. There is not a better staff in town, in any town, so I just can't thank you enough, and I know that you're going to continue doing great work for us, so thank you. I want to thank the town council. How many people was it? 28, did you say? 23? It felt like 28. No. The town council, they are very, Board of Selectmen before, they are very caring. They want this town to be great, and I do appreciate all their work. The same thing with the school committee and the school administration. I was very fortunate to have a partnership with a number of superintendents over the years. And I have to thank Dr. Lyons, number one, for coming here today, but number two, for being a great partner and seeing that it's the town and the schools, we rise and fall together. So I thank you for that, and we will continue to rise as we continue working. So thank you very much, Dr. Lyons. Finance Committee, there are a number of finance committees here today. I got to say that I loved our meetings. I love our meetings. I loved them before Zoom, because maybe we had a little bit more fun. But I tell you, the Finance Committee has been great stewards for this town, and they will continue to be so. So thank you to our Finance Committee members who are here. And then the volunteers. Wakefield is run by its volunteers. It really is. You make such a difference in everybody's life. You might think it's a little thing, but a family went home happier, a person got help. You sensitized issues to the town council and to the town employees. So I want to thank you for all your hard work, everything you do every day. And then to the citizens, you are just unbelievable. They're the best citizens around, and that's with an open town meeting that a lot of communities don't have, but we do have an open town meeting where any citizen can come and talk. Over the last 17 years, though, we have together faced many challenges. I remember back in the late 2000s, around 2008, 2009, I had just been appointed, and the governor cut state aid to the town by $500,000. We got the notice around November sometime, which really meant that we had to cut $1 million in the budget from the beginning of the year. We only had half the year to do that $500,000. I remember having a meeting with the chair of the select board at the time, or Betsy Sharon. I think Cheryl Ford was the chair of the school committee. Superintendent was there, and Kevin Gill was there. And we sat at that round table in my office. It's still the same round table. And we figured out what we were going to do to make up for that $500,000. And we survived. We did fine. Working through the pandemic really showed how great, I already knew how great, but how great our whole staff was. And we came through that very well and adopted some probably better practices with having all the meetings on Zoom and on the website and everything, so everything is open and transparent. But we've done a lot of great things too, not just face crises. We put together a really good capital plan. I thank DPW for working with me on that. I think I see Rick Stinson just came into the back. Thank you, Rick, for all your work on that. Joe Conway. And it really is important that we have a plan that maps out what we think we need to do. We may not be able to do it all right away, but we do have a path where we're going. Together we built a new middle school. We're building a new high school. We built a new public safety building. We refurbished the senior center. All wonderful things that we're doing together, and that was because of the people and the taxpayers of Wakefield. We have a road bond. We're working on those things. Services are very different than they were 15, 17 years ago, particularly in the social wellness of the town. I've got my hats off to the police department and to our health department. Police department were early people that did that. And our public safety is number one. And I'm really proud that I think over the years we've had fair and good contracts with all of our unions. And I won't say that I enjoyed every negotiation session we had, but most of them, we all got to the good point. And we did all of that while maintaining a AAA bond rating, and that has saved us millions of dollars. So I thank all of you for your help in that. This could not have been done alone. To my family, this job calling was a journey, and it is a journey. And I have to especially thank my wife, Jean, who has just been my rock, love of my life for almost, 39 years now? 40 years now? 40 years, I know. 40 years in October, we've been married. And she had to put up with, me taking those calls and emails on family vacations, taking those pictures. I think we're in old Quebec, and we see a sign, let's take a picture of this, But she humored me anyway. And my kids, it's funny what Stephen saw a transition, and from being, my own law practice and being in different boards and things. And Nick is right. There's a picture here of Nick, I think, when they run through, holding a sign from my first time on the Board of Selectmen. I think you were 3 years old downtown. So I got to say, they've always been helpful. They understand, and they've been just great kids, and we love having them in Wakefield, particularly on Friday afternoon happy hour. So we have to keep continuing that tradition. Finally, I want to thank you all for allowing me to serve as your town administrator. It certainly has been the professional honor of my life. I want to thank you for the faith that you've put in me and my town employees, the partnership that I feel that we've enjoyed over the years, but really your friendship, and that means the world to me. I'll always be proud to be a warrior and to call Wakefield my home. Thank you.
You're welcome to stick around, have some coffee. The jazz ensemble is going to play some music here for you, for your enjoyment. And this red board in the back, we're going to be laying that on a table. And if you want to sign that plaque on the way out, we'd love it. That's going to be given to Steve and Jean. I'm sure Jean will find a nice place to put it. But thank you for coming. We all appreciate it. Thank you.